Good morning, great Americans. It's another great American video from Kentucky. Just a quick video to remind you uh, about the lies, the same old lies that Democrats use when it comes to taxes and the economy and so forth. I mentioned in one of my previous videos, which I'll link to, that one of their famous lies that they always tell every year, year after year, is that Republicans are cutting taxes for the rich, which is a gigantic lie. Okay, what Republicans do is cut taxes for small businesses to help the economy. Now, if you run a small business, you know that there's a way of filing your taxes as an individual rather than a business. It's just the way that small businesses file taxes. And so it appears technically on paper like higher income people are getting tax breaks, but that's really not true. That's really not true at all. It's actually tax breaks for businesses. To this day, um, uh, the wealthier people pay the most taxes. In fact, most taxes in America are paid by the wealthy. The lower 50% of income earners in America don't even pay any federal income tax. So it's always a big lie. You know, I guess the older you get, like me, I guess you just have to live with the fact that every year the new generation of kids graduating from school and getting into politics and stuff, they're always told the same old lies over and over and over again. And I guess we just have to get used to educating every generation over and over and over again that the Democrats are liars, the fake news media are liars when it comes to taxes. So that's the thing about taxing the rich. But what's the current lie that I'm talking about today? The current lie is another one of the old tropes that Democrats like to trot out, and that is that lowering taxes are going to increase the deficit. You're probably seeing all sorts of stories about, oh, the deficit's going to increase by trillions of dollars because of Trump's tax cuts. And that is a lie. The fact is that when you cut taxes and spur the economy, you increase the amount of revenue. And that's the key word is revenue. Now, taxes are just the tax and the tax rates, but the revenue is the actual money that comes into the government from the taxes. Now, for example, between 1982 and 1987, after Reagan cut taxes, he actually increased revenue. Okay. And you can even go all the way back to John F. Kennedy. It was the famous John F. Kennedy back in 1962. And by the way, this is where Ronald Reagan got it from, was Kennedy. Oh my, how far have the Democrats drifted from these days? President Kennedy in 1962 said that this is a quote, it is a paradoxical truth that tax rates are too high and revenues are too low. And the soundest way to raise the revenues in the long run is to cut the rates now. Unquote. Even Kennedy understood it. You cut the rates, the tax rates, to increase the revenues. But see, these forecasters and these people in government, they don't understand. And so all they do is count the literal number of the tax cut, and then they say, well, that's how much the deficit's going to grow. And that's a lie, because you're actually going to end up bringing in more money than you would have. The real problem, here's the real problem. It's not the tax cuts. The tax cuts are good and they bring in more money. The real problem is the spending. Spending has been out of control for decades, and it even sort of started with with Ronald Reagan, right? Ronald Reagan, uh, when he introduced his big tax cut bill, there was actually a corresponding spending cuts to go along with it. And the Democrats being as they are, which we know today, but we weren't really quite so sure about back then. I mean, we kind of knew, we didn't know as much then as we know today, but they're cheaters and liars. And so what they did is they passed Reagan's tax cuts because it was politically popular, right? They did not pass the corresponding spending cuts because they were politically unpopular, right? You never wanted, when you cut spending, someone always screams and yells like a stuck pig. And that's why it's almost impossible to cut spending. So they did the tax cuts, they did not do the spending cuts, and as a result, that's when the age of deficit spending began. Although the deficits back in Reagan's days were teeny peanuts compared to what they do today. But the point is that lowering taxes is not the problem. The problem is spending cuts. Enter Elon Musk and DOGE. This man, once again, as we all know, uncovered and exposed insane spending. I mean, we're not just talking about cutting legitimate spending, like maybe reducing, military spending or reducing, spending that we know about. We're talking about insane spending that nobody knew about on crazy stuff. Gay puppet shows in Zimbabwe, LGBTQ classes in Cucamonga. Was it LGBTQ puppet shows in Ecuador? I mean, billions here and billions there. What? And of course, how was Elon Musk rewarded? They burned down his factory. I don't even want to go in. I went into all that in the last video, so I'm not going there. But the point is that the lies and the false news stories you are hearing today, that Trump's tax cuts and Trump's policies will increase the deficits, are a lie. They are a lie. There is only one thing only that causes us to continue spending too much money, and that is spending. It's not the taxes, it's the spending. I mean, what does it take to get such a simple concept through to so many idiots in the Democrat Party? We have deficits because you spend too much. And you not only do spend too much, you also spend on things that are absolutely unnecessary and most likely unconstitutional. Um, so that's the problem. So I'm going to cut it short because some of my recent videos have gone long, but that's the big lie. The big lie that you're hearing in the news today is that deficits are going to skyrocket because of Trump's spending cuts and policies, and that's a total lie. It's got nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with the tax cuts. And there are no tax cuts for the rich, and tax cuts are not causing the deficits and the debt. It is the spending. It is that very spending that Elon Musk exposed to the American people. He created a website with the ultimate transparent website for everyone to see where every dime was going that he exposed. And look how that poor man got rewarded for his efforts. That's the problem. The problem is spending. The problem is Democrats. And the problem is especially those extremist, Marxist, violent Democrats who would literally burn down a man's possessions simply because he exposed their corruption. That is the problem, not Trump's tax cuts. So There you go. That's the great American video for today. Make sure you subscribe to my Substack page for free. I heard that Gavin Newsom just started a Substack page. I guarantee you his page will be full of lies, and my page will be full of the truth. So please share this video, subscribe to the page, and I will see you in the next great American video. Adios, muchachos.